These air pumps, don't want them vibrating on anything, so we want them on some nice soft feet or some poly filter or something. And also these air filters occasionally need replacing or removing, because when they're really putrid like that, they sort of stop the air getting sucked in. Air pumps get old, particularly if they're not pumping as much as they used to. Then inside the air pump is some diaphragms, and over time those diaphragms do split, and then instead of it wobbling and being nice and tight, with age they get all loose. So instead of having a sloppy, noisy, loud, loose one, you can either replace the diaphragm on the pump, which will tighten it up, give it a bit of a reco and tighten it up and help it work more efficiently. Also putting it on something soft also can help. Otherwise, if the pump does get too old and it is getting a bit loose and noisy, then sometimes it's easier just to get a new one than to have to sit around listening to something that maybe you prefer not to listen to, when you can get something new and quiet and peaceful. Now, before you can turn these filters on, it's really important that you make sure these are done up nice and tight, and you need to make sure that it's primed and full of water. Now, there are various ways of priming things, but I'm pretty old school. I primed it where I just pulled that tap off, gave that, the one that says out, a little bit of a suck. Once I gave that a little suck, the water started filling up the canister. Once it was full, the bubbles stopped coming out of the outlet, because you've got to make sure you put the inlet with the strainer and then the outlet with the outlet. Then we're right to turn it on, but you can't turn them on dry. And these ones are a bit fancy with the anti-airlock system and that. So if you turn it on, it turns on for a while and turns off for a while. That's pretty normal, it does that. Now, the outlet of the filter, I love to have breaking the water surface. Now, the reason why I want it breaking the water surface is, number one, so you know it's on, and number two, to make sure there's plenty of oxygen that gets in the water. Because what happens with these filters is the water gets sucked into the filter, then the good bacteria sucks all the oxygen out of the filter. So therefore, when the water goes back in again, I want it agitating. Now, if the aquarium is in a situation like a garage or somewhere that it doesn't matter too much, then you can leave it so there's plenty of agitation. On the other hand, if it's in your house or your bedroom or something like that, then you probably want it just under the water, aiming up slightly, so you're still agitating the water, but it's not as noisy. So now what the filter is doing is it's doing its airlock thing, which you'll often just turn off. That'll sort of scare you a little bit, but then it will turn back on again. And that's how it's anti-airlock system. What's the weight of this turtle too? They just look a little bit on the skinny side. I just like to see the turtles and the fish fed on better foods and a bit more food. I'd like to see they're both just looking a little bit on the skinny side. I'd rather them be skinny than fat, by the way. So when I see this sort of behavior where their fins are a little bit clampy, then that is a sign of stress. Now, considering that we just moved the fish and their water quality actually wasn't very good, that's not too surprising. But products like Vogel are going to help this situation, because the Vogel helps to artificially enhance the immune system of the fish. And if you do notice any white spots on the fish, particularly when their immune system is low after a situation like this, then we do want to look at treating the fish if they need treating. So bring a sample of water and a video down to see us at the shop if you're concerned. But this clampy sort of behavior, really we want to keep an eye on that, because we don't want to see them crack out with white spot, particularly after something stressful like this, when the water quality and nutrition was really not where I wanted it. Some regular water changes and a bit of love will go a long way. Such beautiful fish. It'd be nice to see them back in their prime. It's now all cleaned. It's all tested up. And I would recommend bringing a water sample every couple of weeks and Keep an eye on these fellas. Don't overfeed them. Improve your food. And we need to get a retest on this because I need to make sure that the pH has actually come up, because it was acid, and acid burns turtles and it's very bad for goldfish. So let's keep an eye on it and they should be fine. All done, all successful.